Hello everyone, welcome to another session of this year's vSwitch virtual conference. My name is Numan Siddique. I work in Red Hat. I have been contributing to OVN since a while. I'll be talking about OVN controller improvements in incremental processing. So in this short session, we will see what is incremental processing and what changes were done in OVN controllers in 20.6 and how it improved. So before going to that, so these slides talk about the basic design of OVN controller. So if we talk about OVN, we have North-D services where we have OVN North-D service running and northbound database and southbound database. A cloud management system will create resources on the northbound, and OVN North-D translates the NB resources to southbound logical flows. OVN controller will be connected to the southbound database. Each OVN controller will be running on each compute node, and it will be monitoring the database changes on the southbound. It also connects to the local OVS DB server and monitors the changes there. So the main job of OVN controller is to handle these database changes and translate the logical flows to open flow rules. It check for port bindings, like when a VM port is added to the OVS bridge, monitor that and map that OVS port to the logical port, program the open flow flows, and handle packet ins, if any. So before we added the incremental processing support to OVN, so OVN controller had one while loop, and whenever it wakes up for an event, it used to do the same things, irrespective of the change happened. Like whenever it wakes up, it used to translate the logical flows to open flow rules, and this thing was done for every event. Like even a packet in which OVN controller handles was also resulting in this flow translation. So it was taking a lot of time and CPU, and it was not scaling well. So we added the support of incremental processing in OVN controller so that we could better handle these these database changes. So with this, this resulted in OVN controller translating only the required logical flows. Any packet in or pin controller events were not resulting in full recomputes, and this would save mode. This would help in scale, and OVN controller was taking less time as compared to the previous one. But yeah, okay, so before going to that, a little bit of incremental processing. So incremental processing has an engine node. So each engine node has inputs, and input could be a database change, and each engine node can be an input to another engine. Each input to the engine has a handler, and a handler processes these inputs. If the handler cannot process the input changes, it would fall back to a full recompute. So there were few limitations with the initial IP support, like we were not handling most of the changes, and for the changes which we were not handling, it was resulting in a full recomputation. This for any port binding changes or OVS interface and port changes or data binding changes, it was resulting in a full recompute. So in OVN 26, we added further improvements to the incremental processing engine. After this, we don't see full recomputations for these changes. We added input handlers to handle these changes. This resulted in faster processing and very less recomputations. Recomputation here means like throwing away all the old changes and recalculating all the logical flows to open flow flows. And this also scales better. So we did some testing here, and this slide shows that test which we did. In each run of a test was creating a logical port, creating few ACLs for that, and it was binding to a VM, and that VM we were pinging to the router IP. So as you can see here, that much of the time is spent in the event wait port ping, which means OVN controller is doing a full recompute whenever it does port binding changes. So for this testing, we used existing OVN northbound database just to load the OVN controller. And with the IP improvements, we see that there's a lot of improvement in wait port ping. So because OVN controller is no more doing full recomputations, it was only adding flows for that particular port binding. So this would scale better. So we can try to further improve the incremental processing in the present implementation, but this would make the code more complex. We also saw few regressions when we added these improvements in 2006. So maybe we could add the DD lock support to OVN controller to better handle the database changes. Thanks. If you have any questions.